Hello, everybody, and welcome to our third Thursday contest. This is May 21st. It happens to be my birthday, and so thanks. And we're going to critique the artwork for the contest. And the prompt was, let me get it here again. I should have it memorized. School was out for the summer, and Martin was in for a big surprise. So again, when you're looking at this artwork, just remember the prompt that we gave on our svslearn.com site was school was out for the summer and Martin was in for a big surprise. So here are some of the submissions that we got, and I'll just bring them down here and we'll just look at all of them real quick and then we'll share our winners. Some really fun ideas. And it's just so fun to see these when they come in, you know, because there's things that you never would have thought of. And
Yeah, really creative submissions and really varied too, and it's quite nice.
yeah, you're seeing my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. This one's from Charlie Ryan. She's been one of our students for a while. Really fun one. Um, just some really great submissions. And so many varied styles as well.
Yep.
You know, everybody's working in such a different style. So what we hope to do tonight, again, just to reiterate, is to really critique 5 of these for story, design, composition, drawing, and rendering. So I also love to see how many people are submitting these from various countries and people that are joining us from around the world. It's really exciting in that regard as well. The internet has really kind of brought us all so much closer together. It's a really fun one here. I'm looking for some of the names to see if they're actually here joining us. And are you looking at some of the chat? It looks like you're typing.
I was just opening some of the images in Photoshop, and
Oh, okay.
it brings them in sometimes really tiny.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but I am monitoring the chat.
Okay, good. Anyway, really fun stuff. And as this contest or competition grows, we probably won't be able to share all of them. We might do that as a slideshow add-on that you'll see in the video mode only, just because as we did this when we had been doing this a little over a year ago, and it was growing and we were getting lots of submissions. And then we stopped because we were working on the website, and now we're back again. So
Yeah, would you guys like to see all of them listed somewhere? I mean, my students when I show work in class always like to see all the submissions, even if I'm only going to talk about a couple of them.
yeah.
So I'm just assuming that everybody wants to see what was submitted and see how. So Karen says yes. So I would if I was entering the contest, and maybe I will in my free time. An extra image. I always like to see it. So I'm glad you went through all those. It's kind of nice to see them all.
Good.
There he is.
Oh my gosh. You did that on purpose, I think.
Just for the fashionably late entrance.
It's all perfect.
No, I had
All part of
to,
the show.
yeah, I had to uninstall and reinstall the software, but we're good now. Good to
Ah,
go.
okay. All right, well, I guess that I will go first. This was one of our winners right here. And I'm a little
What a cool
disheveled here.
piece. I
This
really
is,
like it.
it's such a neat piece. And there's so many cool things going on, and there's lots of little, let me just zoom in here just so you can see. There's little tiny little details that are just so cool. These little pencils from
Nice.
school, you
Whose is
know.
this one? I didn't remember. Did you list the name of whose this one was?
This one's from Abigail and William B. Agate, and I believe they sent me an email saying they're a husband and wife team. Are they here, by the way?
Oh,
If you're
publishers
here,
seem to love that.
say yes if that's true. If you're not here, then you can't. But
We'll never know.
yeah, I think these are the guys that sent me an email saying that. Um, so many really neat little things going on, and what we want to do is just look at this to see if there are things that we can do to make it better. Um, I'll say this too: when we critique, these are suggestions; they're not absolutes. There are many, many, many solutions to critique a problem, um, and we may hit some, we may miss a little bit here and there. But overall on this one, the things that I wanted to talk about on this is overall in general, I would say that this one is a little bit too busy. There's a little bit too much story, too many stories going on. And so when I look at this, and this is, there's a lot of different critiques that we could do, but I think in general, one of the things that's working really well is, a really fun little style. There's some nice drawing going on with these little characters. Nice drawing with the cat, a really nice little gesture with the cat. But I would say overall, yes, you can end up in a place where there's a lot of busy things going on, but it's like if you go to a crowded cafe and you're having lunch and you can hear everybody's conversation around you. You sometimes have to really strain to hear the people that are right in front of you, and that's kind of a hard thing to do, to actually hear the people that you're with and to not hear those extraneous conversations that are going on. And in illustration, one of your jobs is to really simplify what's going on so that you can deliver it to your viewer in a really clear, concise manner. And so what we have here is one of the things we have, and let me just get the old red pen out, is we've got a whole story going on over here with a guy and his dog. And then we have another story going on right here between this character who has maybe this is his stuff or her stuff. It's her stuff. There's pigtails there. And so this is a whole story. So what we really could do on this is we really could crop this illustration right here, and that would be a really nice illustration in and of itself. The other thing that we could do is, let's just get rid of that. We could crop it again over here, and we can
Yeah, that's
see
a whole
this.
story in and of itself right there. That's
Yeah,
really nice.
that's a nice little story, and it's a nice little composition. But again, what we're trying to do is only illustrate the text. And one of the hardest things that you have to do as an illustrator is to sift through and get to the essence. Remember that good design, as we talk about this, good design is simplicity. It's the refinement and it's the reduction and taking out all the extra things to get down to the most important things. And to me, the most important things are probably this kid right here, Martin, and this big surprise right here. And so what we need to do is organize that in a way that it really works in a design that simplifies it for the viewer so they can get it right away. Now, I don't think it's a problem to add this other character into the story. One thing that's really hard to do is actually to design with just two characters, because the number 2 is actually a bad design number. What it usually does is it creates tension between which one do I look at, this one or this one. And 3 tends to create a better eye movement, and a triangle is always better, or a circle. And so I don't have a problem with that. Do you guys have a problem with that? With
No,
adding
not at
that
all.
third element?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. So what I would do on this one, I'm just going to paint really quick, just because I'm not going to try to make this look super pretty or anything. I'm just going to get rid of my texture here, and I'm just going to try to paint this guy out really quick, just to kind of simplify this area here. And then I'm going to grab, and this is not going to be pretty, and it's not going to really work tremendously well, but I think what it'll do is help you get the idea a little bit. I'm going to edit out that extra fin and just grab this guy right here. And then I'm going to flip him. And I think if you put him right here,
Nice.
and then we paint this stuff out down here, and again, I'm just doing this so we can just basically see it real quick. And I apologize that it's really clunky and that it's not going to do your painting justice, because your painting was beautiful. So many really amazing things going on there. I just want you to be able to see a different composition, and then maybe crop it a little bit differently into a vertical, and maybe even crop him out. I think that right there will give you a much better illustration. It's a circular composition. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's nice.
Let's go ahead and crop it. Thank you, Lee. And
Yeah.
I'll accept all the credit for doing this wonderful piece here. But what you get out of that is a circular composition, and all the space is used, and it really dials in. Another few little tiny things is I would edit out. You want to watch out for hot spots on the edge of your painting, because that tends to take your eye out of the picture. If you put something really bright and a warm color like that, it takes us right off the page. So you wanna try to put those things into the illustration and stay more like this. And again, where I've cropped this down here, I'd darken that and maybe even like that, something like that. Okay, so that's critique number 1 of Abigail's, and now we're going to switch to who wants to go next.
I'll go next.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You should be able to go ahead and share your screen. It'll allow you to choose, if you click on that screen button, it'll allow you to choose which monitor you want to show. It'll highlight the monitor. So it's going to...
I'm gonna go, while you're doing that, I'm gonna go grab my tablet. That looked like a lot of fun, so I want to do some of that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
I can. Yep.
Great. Good. Okay, so we were looking at this earlier, and we thought, at first, here's what we thought. Great concept, but we didn't get it at first because we didn't see the little clues, visual clues that were going on, because they're so subtle. Okay, and with this guy, we've got Harry Potter here. No, I guess Martin here. It kind of looks like Harry. You could put a little lightning bolt on his forehead. But we've got this character here, and we've got the school bus, and these things read so instantly that we didn't even see the shadow, and we weren't quite sure.
When we did, it was awesome, because it was the concept was like, and then you see the big footprints.
Right. So the big footprints, and you know, we get it. The kids are freaking out. There's a T-Rex behind them. That's the big surprise. So the question is, how do we make this work? How do we make this this composition read instantly, kind of what you want the viewer to understand? So honestly, I don't think there's any saving this. Like, there's no going in and adjusting a little here and pushing and pulling a little. I think you just have to start fresh. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you get a composition that's not working, yeah, it is better. So where do you think it's not working the most?
I think it's a good good question. So I think what's not working the most is the shadow. Is that it's so big and broad that we don't quite get it. I guess if you were to do a simplified version, I mean, if you're going to take this and I guess a simple critique would be to go in. Oh, let me switch to.
This one's by Wendy Caston also.
Right.
Thought I'd mention that.
So if I would go in and just take out the shadow. Same thing on the bus. Not have it on the bus either. and I would make it really, oops, let's do yellow like that. Okay, I would make it really obvious that, you know, this is just for this one, that there is a T-Rex behind him. You could kind of do something like, you know, something like that.
So you like that big open space of the.
I would use that big open space, right?
Yeah.
And use that instead of having the shadow like go over so many different things like that.
Yeah, because it's just so hard when you've got all those different things going on.
It's easier to draw too.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the quick and easy fix.
Hey, is everybody able to see Jake's screen? I got one message that says someone's unable to see the screen.
I can see it.
Can everybody?
Can you guys? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So if you can't see it, you might want to go out and come back in. Sometimes that will fix it. Okay.
Sorry, Jake.
It's all right. We can have Aaron edit that out in post.
Yeah.
Right.
Just get one of the interns.
Yeah. Compositionally, let's see. How could we do this? Just to make it more interesting. So, I think what would be good is even going further up. So you have your school bus. You have, you know, maybe a little hedge here. That's a huge hedge, actually. You have like a roof to the house. This is going out really far. And maybe you have your kid right here, and you got the school bus here. And I would just go like way more epic. Like maybe there's something like that. There's the monster footprints, and then you just have like T-Rex shadow. You know, coming like this, and maybe it's coming up over the roof or something. That's one way to do it.
I think that your fix is actually really good too.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is that the school bus is so shoved up into the upper left corner that compositionally it needs more space up there.
Yeah, that's a good call too, right? So maybe.
And then
out
Lee
here.
has something to add to that too.
Oh well, what I was going to say is that I think what you're doing is a really good thing to point out that most of us do kind of instinctually at this point is we start with an illustration or a composition, and typically what I call that is just a storyboard idea. For example, the kid just standing in front of the bus. And then that's just the starting point where you say, okay, what if it's a, you know, bird's eye view? What if it's a worm's eye view? And it just starts the ideation process. And it's a real important one to understand that you're going to do that, and the first one out of the gate, you know, sometimes that's the best one, just the first one that you thought about. But a lot of times, at least you know by going through all the different compositional choices that that's the right one, and that's and then the second thing is you get the storyboard idea down first, and then you start thinking about what's the emotional component. What do you want the viewer to walk away with? And everything supports that idea. And so the perspective and the color and the value and all the lighting, all of it needs to support whatever the storytelling idea is. And so I'll use that as a prompt and do 20 or 30 thumbnails, just like Jake is doing, no more complicated than that lower one that he did, and just really play around and move the camera around.
Yeah, you go in here and you can even play like, do I need a horizontal or can I go vertical with this? And maybe that concept is you just have like, maybe you have the kid just like standing there and he's like looking up like, and maybe you have it like his house behind him and the house has the shadow on it or something, you know, just to play with that idea some more.
So then how do you decide which is the best? You know, you're new to this, or maybe you're sort of new, and you've got all these great ideas. How do you choose?
Yeah, I think if you're new to this and you don't quite have the eye for it, you just show it to people.
Yeah, ask your wife.
Uh-huh.
Ask your husband.
When
Seriously, Norman
when
Rockwell would do that, and,
when
and and even while Norman Rockwell was painting, his wife would come in and say, "Stop," and he'd say, "Oh, you're right. I need to stop."
Yeah.
So if it's good enough for him,
Right.
you have to make sure she's in a good mood.
that's right. Buy her flowers first.
Dramatically, then it's not a good idea. Couple of things here. Some people want your brushes, Jake. Is there any place where they can download your brushes?
Yeah, there is.
You can build your own if you order my class.
That's true. That's true. And I do have my brushes available for in several of my classes. I've uploaded them, so they're there if you just look at the download section. But I put them upline somewhere. I don't know where that link is exactly, but I can dig it up. I want to show you this picture that I found online today, and it kind of has the same thing going on here.
Oh, nice.
So this is for Lego Jurassic World. He's inspecting this footprint, and we see the shadow of the monster coming behind him. So this has all the elements. Compositionally, it just instantly reads. Like, you see the footprint first, you see the guy like pondering it, and then you see that. And that's sort of the punchline right there.
I would say that most all of us, when we start out in illustration, our illustrations are too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem that almost everybody has. So just know that you're in good company if you're overcomplicating your images, but over time you should be looking to simplify them.
Yep.
And it'll seem too simple. Sometimes it'll seem like I'm not doing enough, and you'll actually tell the story so much more effectively that you'll end up getting doing work that is so much more simple.
Right.
And wondering like why you're getting paid for it. It was so easy.
I should add that a lot of people, just by the nature of this assignment, did a really cool storytelling trick where you've introduced an element to the story that the main characters don't know, or maybe one in this case, the other students know, but the main character doesn't know, and that is a great technique to take with you to other story elements that aren't so easy to apply. In other words, the audience knows something that the characters in the book don't,
Mm-hmm.
and kids love that, and adults love that. It's a really nice moment to think you've got a secret that they don't know about yet, or you've got information. So a lot of people did that naturally with the shadows and things lurking off in side frame or coming out of the darkness. And it's a great technique, and you can use it for a lot of different, even more subtle storytelling elements.
One last thing, and then we can move on to the next one. There's, besides the composition, there's just a couple of things here that you're going to want to watch out for, and that's the construction of a bus. So you have wheel wells, and this feels more like a toy bus because the wheels are like outside. Typically, if you look at any sort of vehicle, the wheels sort of rest inside the bus's profile. And so you have the wheel wells and the wheels hug in under there. So I would do something like that. And then also, I'm not sure if the stop sign's like sticking out or if it's pressed up against, but you might want to just watch construction stuff like that. So it'd probably be more sticking out like that with the shadow coming off of it, or if it's supposed to be pressed up. Oops, I'm drawing on the same layer. If let me just switch here. If it is up against the bus, then you're going to want to have it, following the same lines as the bus. Last thing, just watch your anatomy here. This kid has little T-Rex arms when really they should be, coming down to mid-thigh like most kids. See, he can't even really scratch the top of his head. So you want to make sure that your characters are functional, because they end up looking a little odd if you mess around too much with proportions.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do something like that. All right.
If you are going to play, a lot of people have this question in my class when you're really stylizing shapes, when you really leave all the perspective out. And so if some of you guys are in that boat where you're really stylizing stuff, it just needs to be consistent across the board to look right. The only time it ever looks weird is when some things are kind of in perspective, like they should be, and then one thing's out of perspective. It looks like a drawing error. Then, if you're going to go out of perspective and be stylized, the whole thing needs to support that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right.
Awesome. Great job, Jake.
Thank you.